Hello, friends. It's time for Talk Fort Dodge, the show that uncovers the stories behind the houses in the heart of our community. I'm Jeremiahjcondon.
And I'm Todd McCubbin, and today we are here with Iowa Central football head coach Jesse Montalto. But before we get into that, let's do a quick market update.
Market update. We have 114 active real estate residential listings in our area.
Nice. That's up a little bit from last time, but still.
That is up.
I think it's a good number.
It is a good number, and I'm just going to go off feels. It feels like the market is turning. Like
people are excited. We're getting a lot of phone calls.
Phone calls are coming,
Yep.
and people are looking. People are getting pre-approved. And I think it's going to.
I'm excited for 2025, believe it or not.
And going into that, our feature house is 1004 North 24th Place, right across from Senior High, corner lot, big 2-car garage,
Immaculate.
finished garage.
Yeah.
And then I start with the garage because it's actually finished. A lot of people, just a garage is a garage.
Yeah.
Looks like crap. No, you could put your bedroom in this garage.
You could eat off the floor. I always like.
Yes.
Yep.
So that if that tells you what the rest of this house is, it's perfect. And it's listed at $249,900, 1,320 square feet plus the lower level. It's 4 bedrooms and 4 legit bedrooms, 2 baths, a laundry room. It's got everything.
And it's kind of funny because if you went to Senior High or you are from Fort Dodge, you've drove by this house 10,000 times in your life. I mean, I live up there and drive by it every day, so I got to look at your stupid sign every day on the way to wherever I go. So I'll start sending you a picture of it so you can see how often I drive by.
You probably see my name on a sign everywhere you go.
You do see a lot of your name.
Yep.
Yep.
That's a good thing.
It's not a bad thing. Awesome.
All right, a couple facts.
All right.
We like facts on this show. Fun facts. There are more single female homeowners than there are single males homeowners. Wow. I thought that was kind of odd. And then all of a sudden I started thinking about it, and I'm like, it makes sense. Even in real estate, we're like single moms. We don't really say single dads.
No.
Well,
now Jeremiah's thinking, he goes, then I'm going to have to go to Menards pick up checks.
Yeah. In Scotland, homeowners paint their front door red when their mortgage is paid off.
Oh.
So I don't know if that's like a status thing or
yeah, it's got to be.
You really want people to know this. It's like, hey, my mortgage is paid off. Time to paint my door red.
Nice. I'll note when you go over there. I'll check it out.
Note that one.
Note red door.
We had something similar to a fact like this, but I'm always paranormal stuff is just hilarious. So 1 in 10 Americans sell their home. It's due to paranormal activity. And I've been doing this for 10 years, and I've never heard one person ever talk about paranormal.
It'd be kind of embarrassing though. Can you be like, hey, I want to sell my house? Well, why? Because I'm not going to say it's haunted. Mm-hmm. Yeah, because there's a ghost.
I'm going to say this. If you have a haunted house, I want to sell it. Call me and I want to market it.
Yeah, and I want to go in there at 2:00 in the morning like ghost hunters, and we're going to take our little sensors in and record stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm going to try to get 50,000 over what it should be worth, because I'm going to market to the world and be like, we have a haunted house. It's legit, Fort Dodge. And then people from all over are going to be like, I want to see it.
I want to see it. We'll send ghost hunters through.
And this one's really fun. And this is something we knew about, is Sears used to sell mail order houses. Yep. Between 1908 and 1940, you get them in the catalog. Those are the metal houses. There are 7 of them in Fort Dodge.
Yep. Well, they did more than just the metal ones. The metal ones were post-World War II because they had all the extra steel from when they were building all that stuff.
Yep.
So those metal houses, and it's cool being in them. I mean, Face bought one, and I remember going in there, and they had magnets on the wall to hang stuff. They just use a magnet.
Yeah, because,
Yeah, it's so cool.
And, because it was right around when Green Bay won the Super Bowl, and I was in one, and it was Clay Matthews. I was like, oh my gosh, you could get one of those Clay Matthews stickers, magnets, and just put it on your wall, your living room wall.
You go on vacation and you get all those magnets on vacation. You could have just one whole wall of the house could be magnets. Over everywhere I've went, it looks like a world map.
Yeah, just interesting stuff there. And I think that's it.
Awesome.
For the fun stuff.
Awesome. Well, now we're going to get into the really fun stuff.
Really fun stuff. Football.
This guy's interesting. Coach, can you tell us a little about yourself?
Yeah, for sure. Jesse Montalto, head football coach at Iowa Central. Been there currently 7 seasons, going into my 8th season now. Before my time at Iowa Central, I spent a little bit of time at Upper Iowa. Well, back in Dayton a little bit before that. I'm originally from West Palm Beach, Florida. Came to Iowa to play football and baseball. I was recruited for both there. Spent 4.5 years there. Had a lot of success as a player. Got done playing, and was fortunate enough to get hired on full time there right away. Coached there for 9 years. In that transition, I met my wife, and we started dating in Florida at that time. So dated her for like 2 months. Moved, took the full time job up here. And then I tell everybody I did my best recruiting job, got her to move up here to
That's a heck of a recruiting job.
For sure. But we fell in love with the Midwest and been up here over 25 years now and absolutely love it. So,
yeah, I get that. We're from here, so we grew up with this, and then I've moved warm places before, but just always came back home because home is home. And after 25 years, this has to be home.
Absolutely. And that's what, we kind of joke around about it in the office because, I'll get on the phone with some recruits and be like, hey, yeah, I'm from Florida. I'm from West Palm Beach County area. And then all our coaches would be like, are you sure you're from Florida? Pretty sure you've been in Iowa for a lot longer than anywhere else, which I have been.
I was born in Florida.
You can't even
Fort
claim
Dodge
it
became
anymore.
home. Yeah. Is there a time, if half your life is spent somewhere, does that considered you're from here now?
It has to be because I'm over 25 here, 18 in Florida. So,
yeah.
I was going to say, you
This
don't
is
look
home.
50 yet.
Yep.
You don't look as old as Todd.
No, you can't be. That's old.
I'm getting up there.
Unless you're in way better shape, which you are.
I'm working on it.
Yeah, you're doing good.
I try.
You're doing good. You gotta work on your hair.
It's not going to grow. It's just what it is. I embraced this before. When you guys were still young, I was shaving my head.
I'm hearing those celebrities all have that stuff that make your hair grow.
Yeah, I'm not that rich.
Well, we just got to become celebrities so then you can get some hair.
We are. I mean, we have our own podcast.
There you go.
What made you choose Iowa Central?
Yeah, for sure. So before I got here, I was coaching at Ellsworth for 4 years. In that time there, we battled. We're fighting and scratching to find a way to get wins there. Had a little bit of success. We won 4 bowl games in 4 years there. Coach Thwaite was the current head coach here at the time. And we interacted quite a bit, obviously playing each other for those number of years. But then obviously on conference calls and everything else, built a relationship, would run into him at UNI games when Cal was playing over there. Told me that he reached out to me, let me know that he was going to kind of be stepping down, working into a different role as the athletic director, and asked me if I'd be interested. And for me to come over here, it was a no-brainer decision. With the administrative support that they have here on Iowa Central. The campus is phenomenal. And it was just a great fit for me at that time to be able to come here and try to take this program to another level. So,
And what you've done. I mean, it's unbelievable what Iowa Central football has done in the last 7 years. Even before that, I mean, Thwaite did a great job, but to bring you here and see what's happened since.
Yeah, and the thing is, like I say, it all starts with administrative support. We were able to get the support that we needed, and then it became about buy-in, right? Like, so when I first got the job here, the program was probably at its lowest point it had been in a while. And we came in and we had to change something, right? So we had to create a different culture, different environment, different energy. And the biggest thing that we did is we hit social media right away. We had to find a catchphrase. We had to find a way to get people interested in who we were and what we were about, and let them know it was a new era. And, we started the Join the Triton train, and that was a big deal for us. And we were able to get a great recruiting class in, was able to hire some great coaches, wound up winning 8 games our first year, finishing 13th in the country. And then really the last 5 years, we've been in the top 10, which we're one of 3 teams in the country that's been ranked in the top 10. And then this year was the first year that we haven't been ranked since I've been here, but it's been phenomenal. And like I say, it's been really good.
And being a 2-year school versus a 4-year school, the ebbs and flows go faster. How do you stay ahead of that?
Yeah, and I think some of the 4-year schools are starting to really catch on to what the life like.
Oh,
is
NIL
like
changed a lot.
The NIL, the portal, everything else that's involved with it, where they're turning over rosters at the same pace that we're turning over rosters, and we kind of joke around like at the junior college level. When coaches come in to recruit our place, there's 3 different rosters that they're going to see within 12 months. They're going to see our spring roster, our guys that make it through spring. Now you're going to see a summer roster, our guys that are incoming guys, and then our guys that make it through fall and have success on the field, go through everything. So they really see 3 different rosters in 12 months and who kind of makes it through. And we have guys leaving now too. Like last year we had 3 key pieces for us leaving the spring. We had a offensive lineman get $200,000 plus $50,000 relocation fees to go to Washington on an NIL deal.
Oh, wow.
We had a running back who was a May grad who could have came back for another year. He wound up going to Utah State. And then we had a true freshman who was a full qualifier out of high school, which means academically he was able to go Division I, just didn't have the scholarship opportunities. He wound up going to Missouri State. So we lost all three of those guys, similar to the year before where we lost 2 freshmen, one to Nebraska, James Williams, who actually just hit the portal and transferred to Florida State, and then another kid who went to Delaware. So the 4-year schools are turning over rosters at every 6 months. We're turning over rosters. So we've got to do a really good job of developing our kids and keeping it simple for them to be able to have success and progress in a short amount of time. So we can't think necessarily long-term with our kids. We got to find a way to get them developed as in a short amount of time as we can possibly get them in.
And it is kind of a double-edged sword too, because you want these kids to have success and you want them to do that, but you also want to win and have these kids playing for you. So how do you fight that in your head?
That's a great question, and that's something that we talk on quite a bit, right? Like, obviously the goal is always to win a national championship and everything else that comes along with it, but that is not the most important thing for us. Like, I'd rather sacrifice it to make sure that our kids are having success and getting on to the next level. All these kids come to us and they all sit in my office at some point and go, when I ask them what their goals are and what they want to achieve, they all say, hey, I want to play at the highest level. I want to go play Division I football. So for us to not give those kids that opportunity or hide them on a prospect sheet or not let people know about them, that's not what we're about. We're about getting our kids to the next level. Obviously, from a selfish standpoint, we should try to keep them all instead of getting those guys out.
Yeah, this guy, I don't know who this kid is. But, he's nobody. He's not playing today. He's
for
hurt.
sure, which you see all the time at our level. There's a lot of other colleges that do operate that way. Wow. But that's not what we're about. We're about making sure that our kids do have success and get out of our.
And being able to talk about the guys that are going to Nebraska, the guys that are getting paid money to go play here, and these are the people off our roster because they know you can come here. We're going to put you forward, whether it's good for, we're going to do what's good for you. And I'm going to take it back to a real estate thing, and we kind of do the same thing and do it a lot. I mean, it's not what we want for you. It's we're working for you to make you better, and we want you in the best place possible. So
absolutely,
it's kind of cool having that synergy.
It comes back later.
Absolutely. Right. And so that's how we have success in recruiting kids to our program. It's all about who do we send out and how we're getting them to where they want to go, which allows us to, again, bring in the next class, So if we push one out, sure, we want to get one back in return somehow, and that's where the relationships that we have with these Division I schools come into play also. Right. And then things have completely changed in the last couple of years with the NIL, like you're mentioning, where we've never talked money with our kids until recently. But now we're out here leveraging deals, just like how you guys are working for clients. We're working for our kids to go, okay, you've got a $25,000 offer from Illinois. Well, now Kansas State wants you to take a visit. Well, they're going to have to give you 50. And then Illinois is going to come back with 75, and it's kids that come from nothing and they're getting, big time money. Like right now, our running back is going to be the number 1 player in the country with the Florida State offer already. He's going to have an opportunity to make anywhere from $300,000 to $500,000 a year.
That's crazy.
Just by playing college football.
Wow. Well, and you have seen a lot of people that are staying in college longer, or they don't really have a chance of playing in the pros, though they're doing a 5th, 6th year of eligibility, trying to squeeze that stuff in. Yeah.
Like in today's world, like Tim Tebow would have been like a multi-millionaire. Get to the pros and not much, but like he would have been. Well,
what Brock Purdy made for his first 3 years was silly compared to what these players are getting paid in college.
Absolutely. Funny story. My good buddy of mine from high school actually is Brock Purdy's agent.
Oh, wow. Really?
So he represents him. And so, I'm always trying to push some of our kids to him now, especially with the NIL deals and everything else like that. So
it's cool.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I love how you've got all these, you're talking to Twait and these personal connections to all these people. And it's so cool. And I think that's such a big part of coaching. Being a head coach is part being I'm the head coach, you're going to do this and this, but it's also, I know this person, I know this person. Exactly. I know how to get you where you need to go. And
well, I always thought that like when Hoiberg came down from the NBA, it's like what player wouldn't want to go play with him with all of his connections in the NBA? It's like, what's the next level? If I want to get here and I want to get to the next level, that's a coach I want to work for because he's got connections.
Yeah, and I think it's just like anything in life. Like everything comes down to relationships and how you treat people and how you take care of people. And if you have those relationships, then people are going to take care of you. They're going to go out of their way for you. And that's why we've been able to get the kids to where they're going. Sometimes we may not have the most talented kid, but they believe in what we invest in them and then what we say about them too. Right. Because we're not going to sell you just a random kid. We're going to make sure he's doing things the right way and having success.
Under promise, over deliver.
Absolutely.
Yeah, a lot of similarities.
That's a big thing for us, right? Like, we don't want our kids putting on the prospect sheet that they're 6'5". if they're 6'3".
Right.
Because then a coach comes in, they see him, and they're going, that's not it. I'd rather have him say that he's 6'1". Coach goes, oh, he's way bigger than 6'1". So
yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Well, could you give us kind of like your journey on how you got here? You know, you don't just become a coach overnight. You know, where did the passion come from, and like what built you to?
For sure. Football has been not always my true love, right? So I grew up a baseball guy, was a really talented baseball player, loved it. Actually, Coach Dylan, head football coach at St. Ed's, my son, or his son and I played together growing up. And his son wound up going on to Baylor to play and having a bunch of success there. But so we grew up playing baseball down in Florida, got to know each other. But that was my sport, loved it. You know, was kind of a troubled kid, you know, as I was growing up, trying to figure out life, trying to figure out what I wanted to do. Had some coaches come into my life that made a huge impact, that kept me going out for football, that made my love for football grow and have more passion towards it. But when I got to college, I was one of those guys that changed my major 5 times, you know, just like any 18-year-old kid that's trying to figure out what they're going to do. But started off as a math major because I love numbers. Then went to accounting, business, wound up with a sports communication, a minor in marketing. Got done with college in December. Was going to try to go play the next level, too slow at that time. And wound up, like I said, doing a little marketing gig. That's when I first met my wife. And then I got that call to stay in football, and that was it for me. I just knew I had to be around the game. My passion grew for it in my time in college and my last couple of years of high school. Had enough people that made an impact on me that were coaches in my time that I knew I wanted to be able to give back the same way.
So where did you play in college?
Yeah, so I played at Upper Iowa. So,
okay.
Yeah,
you mentioned that. I'm sorry.
Big city, right? Fayette.
Yeah.
Went from West Palm Beach to town of 1,000 people. You know, my dad's a New York City guy, so he drops me off and basically says, good luck. Never thought I was going to have a chance of making it.
No way.
And I fell in love with it. Like I said, the place was awesome for me. And like I said, I have a lot of good things to say about Upper Iowa and my time there. You know, and then being an assistant coach for 9 years, you learn a lot. So I was promoted to a coordinator at 24, 25, probably one of the youngest coordinators in all of D2 at the time. And it was a learning curve, right? We went out there. We were really successful. We averaged 400 yards a game on offense. Wound up having a coaching change. So when we had that coaching change, I had to take a step back into a position job. When you bring in a new head coach, usually brings in his guys.
Yeah, he doesn't know yet.
Everything that goes along with it. So I was an assistant there for 5 or 6 more years. And then I just wanted to become a head coach. Like I wanted to be able to run my program, was able to see and learn from a lot of people that were really good in the game. But I wanted to see what I could do. And that's kind of always been my thing is like, you know, where I come from and what I've been able to do. I feel like I can be successful at anything I do. So I wanted to go take over my own program and had that opportunity at Ellsworth. And like I said, I was excited about it. It's been a big passion for me.
Wonderful.
So as you grew into coach, your coaching style, what experiences led you into the coaching style you use now?
Yeah, in my coaching, I think evolution is always a big part of what you do, right? Like you first come into a head coaching job and, you know, sometimes you might think you have it figured out, but you really don't, and you're learning every year, and you're trying to evolve every year. You know, you're looking at what people are doing, how you can get better, and not staying stagnant with anything. And really my coaching right now with where I'm at, we've been able to have a really, really strong supporting cast, right? So our assistant coaches are phenomenal. So I lean on those guys a lot more than I did when I first got into coaching, where I felt like I had to be, you know, the main person and I had to be the entire show. Right now it's more about organization, making sure that I surround the people or put people around me that make my job a lot easier, you know, and give them the tools and resources that they need to make sure that they can coach our kids and help develop those guys. And like I said, I'll guide and lean them to where they need to go. And then I'll step in where I need to step in. And I think that's a big part of what we do. Like I'm not overbearing. I'm not a yeller. I'm not a screamer. You know, if anything, laissez-faire, we're pretty laid back to where, you know, just kind of want to coach those kids and really help develop them as people. But again, it all starts with the relationships. And that's how so like our saying in our program is like our success comes from our culture. Our culture comes from our relationships. And that's how we've been able to build what we've been able to do. So
that's great. And you got to like adapt at times, probably due to staffing. Like you just said, like kids coming through, you like planned on these 2 running backs and all of a sudden now you only got 1 and you got this and that. And it's like, oh, that doesn't work with this offense or whatever.
It's constantly changing, right? And then that's the thing. Like we self-evaluate more than anybody. It's just a matter of what we have to do.
Once a week, something changes.
Yeah. So like today we had our first competition, our off-season running. We went at 5:45 this morning, got done with 7:15. We got done. We came back to my office and met from basically like 8:30 to 11 and just talked about everybody, evals on every single kid, just kind of figure out where they're at, where we think they can go and how we need to help develop them for the next couple months.
How many kids are out for football this year?
Yeah. So we usually come into fall with about 180 to 200.
All right.
Wow.
Currently
by spring?
Spring we have 125, which is an absurd number. It's a lot.
That's why you have to lean so much on your assistant coaches. You can't keep up with that many people.
Absolutely, but we've got a really good group. This is probably the best group that we've ever had in a spring. Just the amount of talent and production we have returning on the offensive side, especially, and then defensively, we brought in some really big time transfers. So
nice.
I bet that could be hard to cut for the final roster at times.
So in the past, we have never cut.
Oh.
Yeah, so we carry 180, 200. So we're different than the Division I level. And now, the Division I level cutting down to the 105. We're trying to take ours back a little bit just to feel like we can get more quality out of our practices and be able to spend a little bit more one-on-one time with each kid rather than having 180. And sometimes maybe that kid not getting as many reps. So we are going to cut back a little bit and then have a different plan for those 150 through 200 or whatever numbers we have and find a way to basically treat those guys as redshirt guys in a different developmental process than the rest of the team.
And yeah, you're talking apples and oranges anyway. So, I mean, if you're in that, I was always a bench kid, so I wasn't the one out there playing. But, I mean, coach back in the day was always like, okay, you're still part of the team. You're getting out here and they're going to develop you because I was a freshman, sophomore. You weren't going to do all that stuff, but it was, they'd still work with you and wanted every person on the team, but it was a different path for me than it was for Charles Bodaddy or any of those guys that were playing.
Yeah, and I love the fact that you talk about the path, right? Because all of our kids have a different path. Like Rex Van Wyck, a kid who came from Central Lyon, came to our place, was a full qualifier out of high school, spent 1 semester with us, wound up going to Kansas State. Yep. Had Iowa State offer Iowa and wound up going to Kansas State. And then we get a kid like Mario Sanders who came in, redshirted his first year, just wasn't ready to play. Second year was not an All-American, first-team All-American, led the country in receptions, went to Illinois. And then you get other kids who, Jonathan Young was offensive tackle for us, came in our program, played JV the first 10 games or whatever, 6 games at JV, and then played minimal role on the varsity squad. And then his second year winds up being an All-American, gets $60,000 NIL to go to Memphis and play tackle for them. So every kid has a different path, and that's what we just try to get those guys to understand is whether you're a walk-on scholarship guy, whatever it may be, you're going to have an opportunity to just trust the process and it'll work out for you.
That's so cool.
Do you have a special philosophy? Or what is your philosophy?
Yeah. And the big thing
What's
is
your motto?
We want our kids to do things the right way, and everything outside of football, like we have our 4 pillars of our program, right? And our 4 pillars: personal accountability. Can you show where, when, and how you're supposed to be there? Academic integrity. Can you take care of things academically? And that's us having a plan for them to be successful academically. We had 80 kids this fall semester that had a 3.0 or higher. That were academic all region. The third thing is competitive excellence. We want guys that love to compete in everything they do. And then social responsibility. Can you represent your name, our program, the right way in everything you do? And guys that come in, they do that, and then they burn the boats, which is an all-in mentality where you're all about everything that you're doing. Those kids come in, have success, and wind up having an opportunity to go play at the next level. We've been able to send 125 guys Division I in the 7 years I've been here. We've been able to send over 240 to the next level, whether it's NAIA, D2, D3. So these kids are getting an opportunity to continue their education wherever they're going, which is important for us.
And I think it's important that the people that aren't able to continue in football and continue that, but do continue their education. And before we started, we talked a little bit about Cole Jaskey. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, Cole's one of my favorite, all-time stories. A kid who came to our place at Upper Iowa, had a chance to watch him play in the semifinal game down in the Dome, knew he was our guy at quarterback. We recruited him pretty hard. Came to Upper Iowa, redshirted his first year, and then wound up becoming a 4-year starter, throwing for over 13,000 yards. And then wound up with the Carolina Panthers. Gets into camp there, but for me, and this is what I tell recruits all the time, it's so special to see him now as a husband, as a father, as a financial advisor, having success in the community. Like, those things are important for us to look back on and go, hey, it's not guaranteed that you're going to make it to the NFL, but you got to have a plan. You got to have a backup plan and make sure that we're doing everything to get that education, that degree to get you there.
Yeah, set you up for success, whether it's in football or whether it's whatever you go into life. And that's why when you brought up academics, I'm like, that's so cool that it's not just pushing, football. It's pushing, we don't know where you're going to end up. Your path is not laid out. We're going to take you as far as we can. But what that might be is you're going to have one of the best jobs you can have because you have the education and the strength and the mental capacity to get it done.
And when you have that philosophy, like over time, like you said, Washington, Illinois, Kansas State have picked some of these kids out. Well, if those kids go into their teams and like bring some good qualities, they're like, wow, this kid was grounded before.
Yep.
And then they come back. You'd think they'd want to keep coming back. It's like they got quality. If this is a good teammate and good values, like we want more of that.
Absolutely, and that's playing any sport, obviously in college, is going to teach you a bunch of different values that are going to be valuable for you in life, But even just the networking part of it, right? Like, so if I'm going to go in and play with 150 other guys at a 2-year college, well, you guys know it as well as anybody, right? Like you can go reach out to somebody who might be a mortgage broker or whatever, and now you're reaching out to different people that are in some kind of value to you. But then you're also going to meet another 150 people at the 4-year school you go to, so your network continues to grow. And that's something that we talk about all the time. Is like I can go to any state and have somebody to stay with that I went to school with or played with or was friends with somewhere along that line.
And it's the same, and I'm taking this back to what we do because it seems so similar. Is I get calls all the time. Hey, I need a plumber. I'm like, here's 3 of them I use, and I need an electrician. I got a bat in the attic. Who do I call? Just all the stuff. And it's like, that's what I do all the time between the rentals and the realty and everything else we do. I have somebody you can call on almost everything, and so does Jeremiah. So
you call John Candy to get the bat out.
Yeah, there you go.
And Dan Aykroyd.
So building on past success, you talked about how, this last year was a little rougher than other years, but how are you building on the success you've had so far to make this year coming up the best year ever? Yeah,
you know what? And us not having the same success, right? Because we talked about a little bit earlier about continuing to self-evaluate and do everything we need to do there. Like, our kids are so motivated right now to where we're at and where they're trying to go. That's what got me excited about where we're at. And then obviously to be able to pull in a recruiting class like we just did, we were able to bring in 70 commits on Wednesday for signing day. So like I said, we're really excited about the group that we have coming in, the group that we have coming back. The way they're working in the weight room is different. Division I coaches will walk in our weight room and go, we've never seen anybody lift like this. We've got a kid who transferred in from Arizona. He's like, Coach, this is the hardest I've ever worked. Same thing with a kid from Iowa State. So our kids do work. That's one thing that when you watch our kids, they're extremely competitive. They work hard. They don't, like, it doesn't always have to come from us. They understand it. So yeah, like going into this offseason, like I say, we're really excited about our group. We know we've got to continue to push them, continue to fill in some spots, but to have the number 1 running back coming back, another running back who's probably a Big Ten type back, to return like 40 combined starts at receiver, to come back, to return 4 interior O linemen that all started multiple games. Is different. To have 2 quarterbacks that played multiple games to come back, where at this level that never happens. Right. So we feel really, really good with where we're at. And then obviously defensively, to bring in some of the transfers. We brought in Under Armour All-American, who was number 7 D tackle in the country out of high school, along with a couple other kids that have a chance to be pretty special. And then we got a couple kids returning at linebacker and DB that give us a chance. So just got to continue to push them, continue to work them, and then bring in kids that can help add. And what we always talk about is, like for our current kids in the program, we're trying to out-recruit them. We're trying to bring in kids that are better than them, and then they're supposed to be out-developing the kids that we're bringing into our program. So as long as they keep on doing that, we'll have that competitive edge that we need to be successful.
Recruiting's got to be really tough, like at your level.
It's a grind.
Yeah.
Because you're all over the place.
Because, if the kid's really good, they probably want to go to the 4-year school, like the big conferences. But if they're not quite there, that's probably where you fall in, or
and like junior college has changed, like the perception, because everybody watches Last Chance U or these other shows that to me are outrageous because that's not how we operate. But the type of kid that's currently in our program at our institution is not the typical what people might have thought a junior college kid was in the past. We're getting kids right now because the academic change, the requirements changing with COVID and everything else, to where these kids don't need test scores now. So a lot more kids qualify. So the kids that we're getting are kids that are just under recruited because all these Division I schools are taking portal kids and everything else. So we're getting a really high quality kid, high academic kid that just needs to be developed a little bit more. And those kids are coming in our program. But yes, it is a grind. We're sitting there, and it's not a 2-month process. It's a 12-month process where you're doing it every single day. Like I say, for our coaches to have 133 kids on campus in 1 month is a lot. So, and I meet with every kid for at least a half hour.
Oh, geez.
That's a lot of hours.
Well, and I could also see like someone like have the opportunity to go to Iowa State as a freshman, and you're just going to sit the bench, or there's a very high probability you're going to be sitting. Wouldn't it be fun to go to Iowa Central and try to get some people? There's still going to be competition. You're still going to have to work at it, but you might have a higher probability of starting playing for a year or two. And
it's fun to play. No matter what. I would have had opportunities to go play at bigger places. When I got done playing, I wound up being a Hall of Fame receiver where I played. But I loved playing. I loved having the success that I had rather than, playing behind somebody or, maybe not getting the same amount of opportunities. And for me, it was just fun to be out on the field every single snap.
Well, that just clicked to me, like Aaron Rodgers. That documentary that just came out about him. Did you see that?
I did not get a chance to see it. I got it marked on my deal
He did not go to where he wanted to go, so he went to a junior college, and he said that was one of the pivotal moments of his life. He kind of learned more about himself and how he operates, and then when he went to Cal, he was able to take all of that with him.
For sure, and you find so many of those guys, the Josh Allens of the world, that under recruited, nobody had offered, went junior college, then goes out to Wyoming, and then MVP candidate.
Yeah. He's doing okay.
For sure.
Yeah. Well, he's doing okay till last week.
Yeah.
That was a rough one. So obstacles. Iowa Central, being a small college, has some of those obstacles other colleges don't have. What are the biggest challenges you see with Iowa Central, and what are you doing to take those down to get over them?
Yeah, so obviously we always got to fight that stigma of, hey, 2-year college, right, or whatever it is when we're battling against 4-year schools. But right now I think, like I say, we do have so much invested in the program. One of the things that we're trying to continue to build is the NIL collective, right? So right now it's obviously big at the 4-year level where kids may get that opportunity to get on NIL somewhere. And whatever that amount is, it is what it is. But that's something that we're working hard towards now, is to try to create those collectives to be able to give kids opportunity when we have a running back like we have right now, so he doesn't leave our place and go to another school, or take an early Division I offer that he may not be 100% happy with. So the NIL collective is big. Obviously, we want to continue to upgrade our facilities to be able to compete with the Division I schools, where those kids are going to have to make that choice of, hey, do I want to go sit at Iowa State or come here, but I still have all the same resources, whether it's a nutrition bar or, shakes after practice and the same weight room, type.
And the cool part here, I get to take snaps.
Yeah.
I get to sit on the bench anywhere
Because you wouldn't want it, if you had the plans to go play for Big 10, Big 12, whatever, you want to be ready. So you'd want to go somewhere that's not just, I'm going to play, but it's all relaxed, and then you hit the next level and you're like, oh, crap.
And that's exactly it.
Shell shock.
Our kids are ready to go play when they get to that level. As long as they get there in December after they graduate and get there in January, it gives them opportunity to get on the field early, because our kids understand what it takes from a work ethic standpoint, the development standpoint, everything else that goes along with it to be ready. So.
And there's something different about being in college and education too. So, having that year here, 2 years here to kind of understand what it takes to study and what it takes to actually be able to pass classes. Iowa Central's fortunate it doesn't have these huge class sizes, but, you get a kid that comes here straight out of high school that's never opened a book outside of school, and all of a sudden it's like, what's homework? I have to do homework? What am I don't have time for this. And it's a great time for you to kind of teach them how to, you talked about academics and, open a book, learn how to study, and get after this.
Absolutely. And that's what it is. And especially these kids right now. So this graduating class, they spent 7th and 8th grade on Zoom, COVID, right, learning, poor study habits, got into high school. Some of them may not have done that well because they had those poor study habits going into 9th and 10th grade, and then started to figure it out as they got into their junior and senior years. So we can bring those kids in. We obviously give them a ton of academic resources that we have on campus, which I think are unmatched compared to any other junior college and most small 4 years. Yeah. We do a great job with our academic resources, and it gives those kids an opportunity to learn how to create those study habits that are going to help them be successful at the next level. And then, again, the benefit of being able to be successful on the football field and get an opportunity to earn a Division I scholarship or even a Division II is you're going to have even more academic resources at the next place you go if you can do those things. And, it gives those guys an opportunity to get that degree at the end of the day.
That's cool.
I go to the rec every day, and a lot of times I see the swim team, the cross-country teams, the wrestling teams. Oh, my gosh, the workout they do in the pool, like I would just die. Like literally. They make them like swim all the way across, do jumping jacks, swim all the way across, do push-ups, swim all the way across. I'm like, oh, my gosh.
Throw me a life vest.
Yeah, that's right.
But I guess my point is, like, when I hear them talking and stuff, it's like there's so much fun. Like all the kids, they're pretty cool, so polite. Mm-hmm. And like a lot of fun. Do you spend a lot of time just like enjoying their time? Like
our campus is different, right? So we have, I think, anywhere from 1,100 to 1,300 students on campus, and close to 1,000 are student athletes. So you talk about a culture on campus that's really good, right? Just outside of football, even where, all those kids have some kind of common goal, right? They're all going through the same things. They're all going through workouts. They're all going through study tables. They're all going through practices, and long days of classes, and hanging out in the dorms with each other. So it's actually really, really enjoyable to be on campus with so many people that are like-minded. And then for us, like I talk about it all the time, I want our kids in our offices. I want them around us. I want them to be with us, because if they're not, then it's hard for us to build those relationships. So we have an open door policy with all of our coaches. We want to bring our kids in, and part of our academic success plan for our kids, we bring them all in and talk to them at least once a week. I want to know, if they're having issues with a girlfriend. For instance, today we have a kid who, has been in a 3-year relationship, girlfriend and him break up. Like, I want to make sure I can be there to support him the next couple of days and throughout the weekend to make sure he's okay. We're dealing with mental health. We're dealing with a million other things going on in the world.
And sometimes they might just need a hug.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm here for you. I can,
or just to know that someone's there.
And they're 18, 19-year-old kids at the end of the day. So they're a ton of fun. You just want to be around them. It keeps me young, is what I tell everybody all the time.
I bet it does.
And it, like I say, it makes me want to work out. It makes me want to run around with these guys and have a good time with them and talk about their lives. And, like we'll get on, not me anymore, but some of our other coaches will get on like Call of Duty and play with them and get on the headset and talk to them. And just like I say, it's really about the relationships and again, make sure our kids are taken care of, and we want to understand who they are and what they're about. So it is fun to be around those kids.
Yeah, they just seem like a lot of fun. Just the things they say, and they laugh, and you're like trying to stay out of it or whatever, just walking by, and I grin every time. I'm like, they're hilarious.
Yeah, I don't
and
know
I like hearing it.
I don't know who's more interesting, our coaches or our kids, right? Like we joke around like it's a South Park episode every single day.
Well, yeah. Sometimes when you hit 40, you're more immature than the 20-year-olds.
Oh, wait till you're empty nesters. There's no kids at home. The whole world changes. It's no like, doubt. Well, we go do what, when?
Yeah, 9 years, son.
There you go.
So anytime you have a demanding job, you have a family that's behind you. Yeah. So tell us a little bit about your family and their role and what you do.
It takes the right person to be a coach's wife and even coach's kids, where there's a lot of sacrifices made, between the long hours that we put in. Because during the season, we can be anywhere from 7 in the morning till 11 o'clock at night in the office, grinding away, prepping for game film, reviewing game film, game plan, everything else that goes along with it, or recruiting. Or you could be on the road for a couple of weeks at a time with recruiting and everything else that goes in with it. So you got to have, a strong woman in the household that can be there to support you and make sure if you're not there that the kids are getting to school, that they're getting lunches packed, doing all those things. And then, I sometimes feel, and Coach Twade will be the one to speak on this because he gives a really good perspective. And obviously our president right now, Dr. Ulrich, is really, really good about making sure that we take time off to go spend with our families and put more time into that. But yeah, there's times where, I've missed my daughter's, volleyball games or softball games, stuff like that makes it really hard because we're either traveling or on the road. Like this month, even my son had a couple basketball games where I wasn't able to get to because we had Saturday recruiting visits. So when we do get our downtime, we want to make sure that we take advantage advantage of it and spend as much time with our kids. But they're really understanding. I'm able to get my son up to practice all the time, and he comes out to practice, or he'll come to weights and be around the guys. And
that does make a difference. So the sacrifice, there's some bright spots in that sacrifice that they have to make.
So he loves it, and he gets along with all the coaches, gets along with all the kids on the team. Like, he asked me, hey, did this person go play at this college, and everything else that's involved there. So it's definitely tough at times, but like I say, our family started to understand and what I do and why I do it. It was really hard to get through the in-laws early on. That was the hardest part.
Yeah.
So my wife's whole family's from Florida also, and they had no idea. Like, oh, you just coach football. Can't you just move down here? I'm like, it's not like that. But over the process and the time, they really understood why we've raised our family here, and now they love the life that we've been able to create here and where we're at and what we're doing. So it's been really good.
That's awesome. So what do you do for fun then?
Yeah, they got to find the downtime first.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
But in the summers, love to go golf. We golf quite a bit. Like, that's a big thing with our staff. We'll try to go play a different course around, the state somewhere, and quite a bit, like once a week. And then I also play. I played slow pitch softball forever, but I currently play in a men's 40 and over baseball league out in Des Moines. So I'm out there. I'll still get on the bump and throw 90 pitches in a game.
You're going to be like Ricky Henderson, stealing
you can still
bases
throw
at
90?
75.
I can still get 80 on the bump. I can still throw over 80, hit some bombs. Yeah, I've led the league in home run my first 3 years, so I enjoy it, though. It's something that I love to do, and it just – so it keeps my competitive drive, right? So, like, I'm uber competitive. I want to be competitive in everything. I don't care if it's throwing darts, playing Connect Four. It doesn't matter. Like, my mentality is I'm going to win in whatever I do, and that keeps my competitive drive going. So whether it's a game of golf, whether it's baseball, something like that, and my kids come out, So, like, I'll bring my kids out to those games in the summer, and they enjoy it too.
That sounds like fun. That'd be fun to watch.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Well, I think that's all we have. I mean, I appreciate you being here and letting us get to know you better. I mean, I met you the other day for a little while, but didn't get to talk a whole lot. And all of a sudden, it's like, I'll be on your podcast. I'm like, well, cool. Oh, great. So thanks for taking time
Go Iowa
today.
Central football.
Heck yeah.
No, I appreciate you guys giving me the opportunity to kind of talk about our program, our institution, and what we got going on, because there are a lot of good things going. We should be an exciting team to watch next year. And like I say, definitely appreciate this opportunity.
Awesome. We'll get it out there.
Yay.
Awesome.
Like, share, subscribe.
That's right. Ring that bell. Isn't that what that's called? Yeah.
There you go.
That's a wrap at today's episode of Talk Fort Dodge.
Stay connected with us on social media and join us next time as we continue exploring Fort Dodge's stories through the lens of two lifelong Dodgers. I'm Jeremiahjcondon.
And I'm Todd McCubbin, and this is Talk Fort Dodge.
This podcast is produced by Spin Market and Digital. Located in Fort Dodge, Iowa, Spin Market's highly skilled team can help you increase your market by updating your website, improving SEO, designing advertisements, and producing podcasts that will grab the attention of your market. Contact Spin Market today for all your digital marketing needs at digitalagent@spinmarket.com or call us at 515-302-8026. And to learn more, visit our website at www.spinmarket.com. That's digitalagent@spinmarket.com or 515-302-8026. Or visit our website at www.spinmarket.com.